This movie is cheesy. And not just because it's about a pizza, but because it's so campy and asinine that you can't help but laugh and question, why is there a slice of pizza on her face? Alright. Let's see what's in store for us today. Okay, today we're doing Killer Pizza. Of course. And how is it that in all these movies, it's always something extremely outrageous that's the killer thing, killer pizza, killer sofa, killer anything. In my day, when I used to hunt these so-called monsters, that was never the case, but I don't know, maybe things have changed now. Well, anyways, I hope it's dreadful.
That was the scene at a local pizzeria, leaving 10 dead and 6 in critical condition.
In other news, a statewide recall has gone into effect on pizza sauce.
Let's just start out and say that opening scene where all the people getting brutally destroyed by the pizzas is exactly how I expected something like this to happen, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The main character is sitting right there on the sofa, and the mom comes in and says, "Hey, you want a pizza?" And it has the most horrible, cheapest 99-cent, horror music you can find. It's probably one of those like stock music places, but it's even worse than that. It's the most generic kind you can find, and it plays extremely loud over everything, where that's the only thing really you can hear.
Really, Mom? You scared me.
Sorry. I made some pizza. Do you want some?
Yeah, I'll eat some later.
Okay. I'll leave it in the oven for you.
Thank you. Mom? 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 Mom, are you okay? Please wake up.
It's always in movies like this where there's something going on that obviously you can see that no person in real life will act like this. And she goes in there to go look at her mom, and the mom's, I guess, dead, with the pizza eating her face, and the pizza's continuing to eat her face, and the girl's looking at her and saying, "Mom, wake up," like it's not a big deal. Also, even if it wasn't a killer pizza, if you see someone on the floor and they have a pizza on their face, isn't that already kind of strange? And you keep talking to them like there's no problem. Just ignore the fact that there's a huge slice of pizza on their face. This reminds me of that Jimmy Neutron episode where they go for the slumber party, and then he invents that machine that does like scary stories and food and snacks and things like that. It's like a sleepover or Tron or whatever. And they come over and they're telling scary stories, and then Carl gets up later on in the episode to get pizza, and like this like murderous pizza comes out with like a skull face on it and goes around, trying to get all the kids and everything. It reminds me of something like this, but this is just much more just ridiculous and stupid, because at least in Jimmy Neutron, the pizza was actually sentient, like it was a character. But in these movies, it's all just like random objects that go and kill people. But again, it's like I've never encountered something like that, but maybe this is a new thing. But either way, like it's ridiculous.
Mom, please get up. Are you okay? Mom, please.
And the struggle while fighting the pizza, it's like a pizza that weighs like 8 ounces, or not even that, probably like 3 ounces. It's a small little itty bitty little thing, and the person's struggling so hard, like if it's a huge gigantic 400-pound bouncer from the club. So naturally, the way you kill a pizza is you throw it into the microwave and it explodes and it goes all over the place. But that's not even the part that's the best part. The best part is while the pizza is cooking in the microwave, it's screaming in agony. Yeah, so like the mom mentioned, she put the pizza in the oven, and then so the girl goes and after she kills the pizza slice, she turns the oven on all the way so the pizza can just, I guess disintegrate. Somebody else comes and delivers another pizza in a box, and then the box starts moving around, and then I'm assuming the pizza jumps out at her and attacks her. And so the thing is that are all the pizzas in this universe evil, and then what happened that all the pizzas became evil and started attacking people? And also, the mom was attacked by that pizza, and there's just there, and so she goes to answer the door like it's not a big deal. What the characters do, it's not really realistic, but at least it's not the worst I've seen like other ones where they behave in such bizarre and unpredictable ways. Where here is, if somebody answers the door, I wouldn't be concerned about who's at the door if somebody was brutally massacred by a killer pizza. But yeah, that's about it. It's a short little film. This will be a short episode, but I thought I review it because I found it so ridiculous. But it's not a horrible abomination. But yeah, I thought I'd make a quick episode on this video because it's just, again, the novelty. I looked around and this is the only killer pizza movie I've seen. Maybe there are more. Maybe there are killer pizzas in real life. I don't know. But this is the only one I've seen, so I was like, yeah, I definitely have to look at this because this looks exactly what I'm looking for. And even though it's not an abomination, it fits into the categories of movies we're watching, which are outrageously ridiculous and or bad. Usually it's both, but it could be either one. We are going to rate this movie with this chart. We will discuss the form, the elements, the fun factor, and the quality factor. The fun factor measures how much fun this movie is, and the quality factor measures the overall quality of the movie and how this movie did things better, worse, or about the same as other movies in the same genre. All the points added up equal to 10. When we rate bad movies, we don't use a traditional 0 to 10 rating. We use 0 to -10, 0 being the most boring, uninteresting, and unmemorable bad movies. -10 being the best bad movie you can think of. Howard the Duck, The Room, things like that. These movies are legendarily bad and extremely entertaining. The closer we get to -10, the more fun, campy, and ridiculous the movie is. As we go along the chart, when there is something negative, we discount points, bringing us closer to -10. And when there is something good, we just leave it alone and don't do anything. First, its form. Is it realistic? Do the characters behave in a realistic way that would in real life? So in real life, you encounter, an axe murderer, you're not going to stand and make jokes with him because that's not realistic, that kind of thing. But in movies like this, usually they do something outrageous that doesn't make any sense and nobody will do in real life. So is it realistic? Well, for the most part, the two things that I thought were kind of, there would be in the beginning when she's watching the news broadcast of the killer pizzas coming to life and going on a rampage. And then when she's asked about pizza, she's like, oh yeah, no problem. And if it's coming out on the news, obviously, are you going to want to tempt fate by ordering pizza or cooking pizza, I should say? But also, when the mom gets defeated and is all destroyed there with by the pizza on the floor, she goes to answer the door kind of like it's nothing happened. And so again, that's we got a discount point for that. Is it coherent? Yeah, I will say so. Fairly easy to follow, point A to point B. Again, it's a short movie, but there's nothing that got in the way that made it hard to understand or follow. Is it complex? Well, no. There's no complex theme in here or complex technique that have been used. Nothing with the cinematography, colors, lighting, anything like that. It's just regular, so it's not complex. Which, again, short films can do, but in this case it didn't, so we got a discount from there. And is it original? No, but that's fine, because none of these movies are, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, now we're going to discuss the elements, the direction. Yeah, I thought the direction was pretty good. Again, the only thing I was kind of confused about was attending to the doorbell in a relatively calm fashion after, having the mom massacred by the pizza. But hey, the writing, there's not much dialogue, but what there was fine. It didn't seem like there was nothing here out of the ordinary just to put it in there just to make it ridiculous. Like in other movies, they do weird things and they say weird things and they act weird and they say odd things that nobody's gonna say in real life just to insert things that are dumb and ridiculous into the movie to make it even more dumb and ridiculous. And so a lot of movies that are bad movies suffer from things like that, where they just insert dialogue that's the most outrageous, insane thing you can think of just to make it insane and outrageous. But nothing like that happened here, so that was fine. When there's nothing to discount, we just leave it alone. Editing, it was fine. Again, a short movie that's 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You could do fancy editing techniques, but again, this movie didn't require it, so it was okay. Sound, again, the sound was alright. Nothing out of the ordinary. Music, well, I gotta discount music because the music that they chose, I know it's like one of those music libraries, and there's nothing wrong with music libraries. That's perfectly fine. But it's like the cheapest music library. It's like the 99-cent version of a music library, and it sounds cheap, and also like it was way too loud over all the other stuff.
That was the scene at a local pizzeria, leaving 10 dead and 6 in critical condition.
So, but that's something separate. But it sounds cheesy, so we have to discount from there. Special effects, I don't think there was much. I would say maybe that box shaking. So, again, nothing happened to discount from there, so we don't. Story, relatively easy to follow story. The thing I don't understand is that if you're watching in the news, pizzas are coming to life and murdering everybody, I'm not going to eat a pizza after that. But anyways, so we discount from there. Tone was fine. Tone is not all over the place, which, especially for movies of this sort, it affects short movies as well. But it's like, you'd be amazed at how the tone shifts from all these kinds of movies. Like, whether it's a full-length film or a short film, if for some reason these bad movies, the tone shifts so much. And like Armageddon, it goes all over the place. It goes from action to comedy to suspense to horror and all over the place. And it's just not consistent. It's not like it's a horror movie with comedy or a suspenseful movie with some horror, or it's just everything. It goes all over the place, and they do all these weird things and all these facial things and all kinds of crazy things, and it just throws the tone all over the place. But in something like this, that didn't happen. But short films, if you're not careful, can be a victim of this kind of stuff too, even though the runtime is a lot smaller than, Armageddon, for example. So tone was fine. We won't discount from there. The pacing of this movie was pretty good. Even though it's a short film at about 3 minutes, you'd be surprised at how many people can get pacing so bad in a movie, even when it's so short. The pacing in this movie was done well, and it didn't drag on or go too fast, and overall it was fairly balanced. And now we're going to discuss the mise en scène, everything that we see on screen. So lighting, cinematography, the costume props, actors, all that stuff like that. Lighting, it was okay. Again, the only problem I have with these short films is that they look like they were filmed on a phone, which again, it's not necessarily a problem, but it looks flat. It looks like that. It doesn't look like they use any lighting. It looks like they use the lighting from the environment, which again, they can do. That's fine. But if you're not careful, especially if you live in a regular house, it can have that washed out yellow look that I discussed also in Momo, where it just looks unpleasant and it's kind of yellowish. And it looked something like that. And again, for the most part, it wasn't like super horrendous, but for what it was, the lighting should have been better. But yeah, what can I say? I also can't go into the light because then I have problems. Cinematography, yeah, that was fine. It wasn't anything like spectacular or anything. It was just average, not bad. It's okay. Costumes, again, when you have movies like this, usually they have regular clothes. So unless you have an incident where the guy changes shirts like 27 times, you can't really go wrong with kind of regular old clothes. So we'll leave it like that. Props. I guess you can count the pizza as a prop, which is fine, but they chose like the most not very good, appetizing looking pizza. I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but if you're making a killer pizza, you could have gotten one that's really deluxe, or you could have gotten one with pepperonis, or olives or mushrooms, or you kind of gotten real Italian pizza like a margherita or anything. But they chose 7-Eleven pizza, which is the worst atrocity you can get. And so, since there weren't many props in this video, I would count the pizza as a prop. So if we're doing that, they chose a sad-looking pizza, so I had to discount from there. Setting in the house, well, it was fine. Again, the house, all these houses look average. The house is just, it looks average and normal. Like, it could have been much more interesting. Again, like I said, setting, they could have moved furniture around or done something, make it more suspenseful. Give areas where the pizza could hide behind a sofa, a closet, behind the curtains. I mean, whatever. It doesn't have to be like that. But there's just like a lot of open space, and they could have just been a lot more visually appealing by moving the furniture around, or even setting the camera to have specific angles. So even if you can't move furniture around, you can give the idea that you're like in different rooms, or just a different presentation. But the setting again was kind of boring, so we had to discount from there. The makeup looked okay. So, and yeah, the acting was actually okay. Usually in movies like this, the acting is so god awful abysmal, but in this case it's not, which I love the horrendous acting. I live for that. It gives me the energy I need to continue with my night, but in this case it didn't happen, so we have to leave it. Even though I wanted horrendous atrocity, it didn't happen, so the acting was okay. It was actually good. And so now we're gonna rate the fun factor. Yeah, I'd say it was pretty fun. You can only do so much in 3 minutes, but in those 3 minutes, or 2.5 minutes, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was fun. So we are going to discount points, and after calculating all the points, we come out to -5. We are discounting points for realism, complexity, originality, story, lighting, props, setting, and we're discounting 0.5 points on the fun factor, and 1.5 on the quality factor. This leaves us with -5. A fairly solid, ridiculous, and campy movie. Well, that's it. That's Killer Pizza. I hope you enjoyed it, because I know I did. And we have much, much, much worse things coming our way. I mean, you won't believe the plethora of absolute garbage that's coming our way, and I'm all for it. Like I said, I live and breathe all these horrendous movies. I have to start my night with them, otherwise it's just not the same. It gives me the energy I need to continue living on year after year after year after year, and this is what I do. This is what I crave and live for. And so without it, it's just not the same. And so we got much, much worse coming our way. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you later.